Good afternoon. My name is Brianna Rochelle Graham. I am currently a consultant on the KC-46A 3rd Main Operating Base Bed Down Environmental Impact Statement project. For the next 4 minutes, I will present my review of the project, including advantages, disadvantages, and solutions. After reviewing the project, it was determined that it was designed to implement a KC-46A 3rd Main Operating Base in hopes of replacing a few of the older tanker fleets. The additional operating base would also make the United States more prepared to defend the country. Out of 4 possible operating bases, the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base located in North Carolina was chosen as the best area after evaluation. It poses the least amount of changes to the facility as well as the least amount of harm to the surrounding ecosystems. The operating base would allow the United States to be more prepared for employment in exercises, peacekeeping operations, contingencies, and combat. In addition to review of the environmental impact statement, an interview with Mr. Christopher Militscher was also conducted. He is the Chief NEPA Program Officer of the United States Environmental Protection Agency for Region 4. He offers first-hand experience for the environmental impact statement. As previously stated, the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base was chosen because it posed less of an economic threat than the other sites. The economic advantages for this site include a horn system that is currently in use. The system is used to deter wildlife, specifically birds, when planes are in the area. Another reason why this base was chosen has to do with the increase in the number of flights. When compared to the other options, this base would have the lowest increase in the overall number of flights. However, for every project there are also disadvantages. In this instance, the first disadvantage is the increase in carbon dioxide emissions. After speaking with Mr. Militscher, it was clear that the amount of carbon dioxide that was released was minimal in comparison to the total amount released by the United States. More specifically, when questioned about the excess 28,000 metric tons of emissions per year, he stated that that's what gets put out in a major interstate per month. The next disadvantage would be the increase in noise level. Mr. Militscher shared that this issue actually arose when the community began to provide feedback. These individuals believe that the implementation of new planes would increase the current noise level. The last disadvantage to mention is the increase in hazardous materials. With the expansion of the base and greater military personnel, the disposal system must also be ready to withstand the increase in these materials. As a consultant, I have a few recommendations that would benefit the project in the long term. The first recommendation would be for the military to work toward developing carbon dioxide reduction equipment. Once this equipment is developed, it can go towards use in the military as well as civilian life in efforts to decrease the global warming crisis. The next recommendation would be to use noise reduction equipment. With the use of this equipment, the planes, when they land and also when they take off, would be less noisy. A subcategory of this recommendation would be to implement policy to reduce number of flights at night. Another concern of the community was the timing of the flights. The last sub-recommendation of that would be to use wind patterns. Mr. Militscher mentioned that if you take a look at the wind patterns and you fly with the wind instead of against it when the plane takes off and lands, it will be less noisy. The final recommendation of this category is to review current policies. The policies that are in place are able to withstand the current construction and personnel that are on base. However, with the expansion, they need to review the policy and make sure that the stormwater runoff and also the hazardous materials are able to safely reach their destinations without polluting the local environment. Thank you.